Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this Python tutorial, I will show you 4 different ways to join or combine strings in Python. One will be examined using the plus operator. Two, we use compound assignment. Three, we use implicit string concatenation. And the last one will be using what do you call it, F string. So we're going to start by demonstrating how to use the plus operator to concatenate or combine strings together. So the plus operator method is one of the most basic way of joining strings. So we're going to demonstrate that um, by creating some variables. So the first one, let's try and create first name. Let's create first name and last name. Okay. So first name, we assign John to first name. Then also we assign Smith to last name. So what we want to do here is that let's combine both first name and last name first. So let's assign another variable called name. So name, so inside that name, we're going to assign first name. Okay. First underscore name, then plus last underscore name. Then let's print it. Let's see the output. Okay. So let's print name. Print name. If you look at this, if you print name, if you print name, you notice that both the first name and last name were printed as a single word, but this does not follow the proper way of writing name. So in this case, we need a space between these two. So how do we do that? What you're going to do basically is that you have to create space in between the first name and last name. Okay, so in between the first name and last name, we're going to create a space. So when we create this space, then it's going to look like this. So we have to create the space between the two. The name become this. Can we see this now? So I'm going to make this one name 1. Okay, so I'll make this name 1. I'll make this name 2. Then I'll try to print the 2 so that we can see how it look. And I'm going to use one of the printing method that we introduced in our previous classes. Name, I'm going to use name, name, then and assignment operator, then comma name. Okay, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to print it this way so that we can see the difference clearly. Then the next one, okay, that's done for us. So let's print it and see what the output is going to be. If you look at this, the first one printed the first name and the last name together. The second one was separated simply because we introduced space. We introduced space between the first name and last name. Okay, and you can see the difference down here, and that's how to do that. So next, I'm going to introduce. I'm going to let's say we want to print out something like this. Let's say John. One moment. Let's say John is 40 years old. Let's see what the output is going to be if we try to print that. We want to write this as John um, John Smith is 40 years old. How do we print that out? So the first, let's break everything down. Okay. If we break everything down, if you look at here, John Smith, let's assign a variable to John Smith to make it a little bit easier. Name, I'll call it name 2. Then I'm assigning it to okay, one moment. I can change this real quick. So now I'm going to change this to name2. Okay, and then we also have age right here. Age is what? 40 years. So age we're going to assign 40 to age. So one thing you need to know here is that since if you look at it, everything is string. The only thing you have here, the 40 is numeric. If you try to print it out, we're going to print an error. So let's do this. If we try to print it out without converting this age into string, we're going to be printing out error. So let's try it and see what we're going to get. So I'm going to name this message. Okay, I'm going to call it message. So message is one moment please. So I'm going to make it message. Okay, if I make that message, then we have name2 plus age, right? No, um, so we have name2 which is John Smith. Then here we have is. We have to include that is right here. So is plus again. What do we have there? Then we have plus age, which is 40. Then plus. Then also we have years old. I'm just going to include that right there. If we print this like this, there are two things that we need to correct here. Number one, we need to include spaces in between each of the letter words, in between each of the words. Then two, we have to convert this age into string. Otherwise, it's going to print out an error message. Look at it. Let's run it and see what that is going to be. If we print it out, it's going to be error message. Can you see that? It's telling us that we have to convert this. This age is an integer, so we need to convert it into string. So let's convert this into string. So str, and if you don't remember, if we try to print this now, it's going to print everything together. John Smith is 40 years old. It won't be well formatted. Look at it. John Smith is 40 years old. So we need to include spaces in between them in order for it to print out properly. So let's include the spaces, then then reprint. So if we reprint, it's going to look like this because each of the letter word, if you look at it, each of the letter word, I'm going to make this one message 1 and make this message 2. Okay, and we're going to print them out and see how that is going to print. So I'll clean this. Okay, you know what? I'll make this message 1, the top one message, then the next one message 1. Okay, then let's print, and we're going to be using this form of printing. We're going to be explaining this when we get to printing in the next couple of videos. So don't worry if you don't understand it right now. So message, so that's automatically done for us. So next, we're going to do that. So if we print it now, we're going to be able to see the difference. So can we see now? The first one we've explained. This one we can probably I'm just going to, well, this one I'm going to comment them out. Okay, if I comment them out so that we can see what we are basically doing. So I'm going to rerun the what is that? There's an error message. Error message name2, say name1. Okay, name1 is not defined. Oh, sorry about that. It's supposed to be name2. Okay, this is supposed to be name2. Let's rerun it and see. Okay, so if you look at this, the first one message, when we didn't include any spaces between the words, what happened? Everything were printed as a single word. But when we include all these spaces, remember that John Smith is 40 years old. John Smith is one word. Is one word. 40 is one word. Years old is another word. So in between each of them, in between John Smith and is, there will be space. In between is and 40, you're going to introduce space. That's why we are using this double quote and space them. Then in between 40 and years old, um, okay, I'm missing year old right there. So let me reprint again. Okay, nice, correct. So in between each of these letter word, we introduce spaces between them. You can see this is the first one. Between name 2 and is, there is a space. Between is and the age, there is a space. And between the age and the year, there is a space. Otherwise, it won't print out properly. Okay, and this is about how to use. This is about how to use um, plus operator method for concatenation. So next, let's look at how to use compound assignment operator. So let's try compound assignment operator method um, to concatenate this same information, and let's see what we're going to get. So I'm going to comment all this out so that we can see what we are doing clearly. Okay. Um, so next we are using compound assignment operator method to concatenate and see how that is going to be applicable. Okay, so how do we do that? So what you're going to do, since we've done compound assignment operator, it's just the same way, it's just the same thing that we've done. So you can use compound assignment method for concatenation. You can build strings over time using uh, the plus arithmetic operator and assignment operator combined together, and this is useful when you want to append to a string in a loop or step by step. So and we're going to be demonstrating that right now. And how do we do that? So we're going to be using the same thing that we've done here. If you remember, we said um, we assigned, if you look up here, uh, the fourth name, we assign John Smith to name. Let me do it again. Name, we said name is equals to we assign John Smith to name. Sorry about that. Uh, so and we want to write John Smith is 40 years old. That's our target. Our target is to write John Smith is 40 years old. This is our target right here. So let me repaste it down here so that we can show what we are trying to do. So what we are basically trying to write is that John Smith is 40 years old. So how do we write that? So the next thing you're going to do is that we're going to be appending each of these letter word to name. So and remember that since what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding to name. So name, then you space it, plus sign, then assignment operator, you space it. The next one is. Okay, so is that what you're going to do right here. Then the next one, after you are done with that, you say name again, name, you space it, equals to sign. Then what do you have there? We have 40. We've done is, so this 40 has to be converted to string. So you write 40. Then the next one, uh, we have years old. Let's add that to it. So name, okay, space it, plus sign, equals to, then what do you have? We have years old. We can basically combine those two so that we don't waste too much time. And at the same time, we can decide to space it, years old. Okay, so now let's print name. So print name, and let's see, if you print name now, everything is going to be printed as one word. You have to create space between them. Can you see that? You printed as one word, you have to create space. And how do you create space? You put space in between here, put space here, then here put space, and let's reprint and see. Look at that. John Smith is 40 years old. And this is how to use a compound assignment operator method. Then the next one, we're going to be using implicit concatenation method. Implicit concatenation method. So we're going to be doing the same thing. Implicit concatenation method, that's what we're going to be doing. So this, I'm going to comment them out so that we can see clearly what we are doing. Okay, so next we are doing using implicit concatenation method. And how do we do that? Implicit concatenation method is basically um, this method allows you to join multiple string literals simply by placing them next to each other inside parentheses. Okay, so what we are basically doing is this: we are putting everything inside parentheses. So you say message, and we are assigning John Smith is 40 years old. This statement, we are putting it inside here. Okay, but before we assign it, everything has to be inside parentheses. Okay, everything has to be inside parentheses, but it won't be there just like this. So each of the words has to be, you have to quote, you have to wrap it up with quotation mark, and you have to wrap it up with quotation mark. Then this is need for quotation mark right here. So you're going to add quotation mark to each of the then this one to 40 quotation mark, quotation mark. So at the end of this class, then you have to decide which method you want to be using going forward. So that's up to you depending on the tax. So here now, you also have to include space. If you print it now, it's going to print out like a single word. Like when you say print message, let's see how that is going to print. You see, it's going to print like a single word. So you have to space it. So in order to do that, you have to space here. When you space here, you also have to space here, and the space here. Then let's run it and see how it's going to print. Can you see? John Smith is 40 years old, and that's how to do that. Then the last one is using f string. The last method is using f string. So if you are working with the F string is basically used as, it's more or less like a placeholder when you are using F string. Okay, so that F strings are the most modern readable way to format strings in Python. Okay, so in that case, in order to do that, I'm going to, uh, you know, I'm going to comment it out so that we can see everything. Then let's do that. Basically, we are still working on saying message message is John Smith. Okay, don't let me use it this way. So what you're gonna do is this: since what we wanted to do is just use f string, so to make it easy, I'm going to do name, then assign it to John Smith as we've done earlier. uh, John Smith, John Smith. Okay, oh, there's need for quotation mark. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, John Smith. Okay, then age. I'm assigning 40 years old. Now, so in order to use, in order to use f string, we can decide to print it directly, or yeah, we can decide to print it directly or also assign it to a variable. If you are printing it directly, you say print, then you're going to type f. Okay, so when you type f, then um, you're going to wrap it up with quotation mark. Then when you wrap it up with quotation mark, so introduce a curly bracket. So inside the curly bracket, okay, this has already done it for us. So this is how to do it. All the ones that you define, the variables that you already defined, such as name and 40, they will be inside name and age, they will be inside the curly bracket. So this curly bracket serve as a placeholder. So all you need to do is just that whatever variable that you already define right here, they are the one that will go inside the curly bracket. Then with the f, so you just f, then uh, your quotation mark, then just write the rest. So if we try to print it now, you see that it's going to print out just like the rest. So this is John Smith is 40 years old, and this is how to work with string, and you can use any of these method. And here is a quick recap of the 4 string joining methods in Python. The plus sign operator is good for small combination. You need str function if number is included, integers. So then compound assignment operator is helpful when building strings step by step, and the implicit concatenation only works with literals. Great for clean multi-line strings. Then F string, cleanest, best for combining variables and text. So, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any question, you can message me, and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as possible. Though I do want you to practice some questions. These are the questions. Go ahead and try it. If you have any issue, leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as possible, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.